Okay, I think we should start, Mr. Rami. Thanks to everyone for joining, ladies and gentlemen. Our topic today is about Microsoft Azure business overview. We'll take you into a roadmap or a journey of showing you what Microsoft Azure is, what it can do for your business. Inshallah, Mr. Rami will be presenting this webinar. Mr. Rami is having beyond 11 years of experience in the field of IT and specifically in the public and private clouds. So we are doing this with our strategic partner, Logicom, and Mr. Rami is going to go ahead from now. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Rami, please.
Thank you, Mr. Wajdi, for the warm introduction. I would like also to thank everyone for joining our webinar today. As Mr. Wajdi said, our webinar will be an overview about Azure. Can you confirm, please, that you can see my screen? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Rami, you can see the screen. It's
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah,
thank you. So let me introduce myself. My name is Rami Imam. I'm a cloud solution architect from Logicom. Arcelor is one of our greatest and strategic partners in the Saudi and Gulf market. So I have over than 11 years of experience in the public and the private clouds. And our agenda for today will be what is Microsoft Azure, how or why do we need Microsoft Azure, what is the benefits of it, what is the difference between the Azure services, and how we can use it and how this can impact in our business. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. This is a typical diagram or design for all our data centers. All of us here are IT managers or decision makers in our companies. So all of us have the same design almost for each data center. This is the components for each data center. Of course, you have or you need to have, if you don't, an Azure Active Directory service and Exchange for your emails, and SQL or database server. You have IIS or web application or desktop application or ERP system, whatever what you have. In the past 20 years, people were using the physical servers, and after that, the technology came up with the virtualization. So some of people are using the physical servers, and some are using right now the virtual like Hyper-V or VMware or whatever, which virtualization technology you are using. So, and some until today are using the both, like some physical and some virtual. And this is what I see. Each company has some internal users and external users in order to access your servers internally. It's okay. You can access it easily. And if external, you have secure way and non-secure way to access them based on the published service from your data center. And we will discuss this on the upcoming slides. So this is the typical scenario and what you may have here. Please feel free to ask any question in the chat of the teams, and Mr. Wajdi will try to reply, or we will cover all the questions by the end of the session. Last 15 or 20 minutes will be for questions and answers. So this is the current scenario or an example for the on-premises environment. So let's move forward to understand what is Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure, it's a cloud platform. Microsoft, I would like to move forward for the next slide. Yeah, Microsoft has built 54 data centers around the world. Each data center size, it's like 8 football stadiums. So Microsoft had a very huge investment in order to build those data centers uh, to be used by you instead of building your data center. And we will discuss and we will see together what is the benefits of using Microsoft data centers instead of building our own data centers. Okay, those are the physical locations of those data centers. We are here in Saudi Arabia using the West Europe data center. Even we have right now the North UAE and Central UAE data centers, but those data centers are new to Microsoft. Microsoft just added them in 2019 and in 2020. So they did not have the all services, but Microsoft are working to make sure that all data centers, each data center will have the full capacity. So I hope this year or by next year they will have the full services, but right now they have the basic services. If you need a VM or something like that, you can have it there. So we are using the United Arab Emirates data centers or West Europe as it's the less latency for us in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so uh, those are some or the icons of the services which Microsoft provided in its data center. So the first icon here, it's the virtual machine icon. So in order, if you need to have a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure, you need to have this service. And this virtual machine will need a storage account or hard disk, so you can have this storage account. In order to have a backup, you have to attach this one. It's like the puzzle. You have your own virtual data center inside of Microsoft data center. There is a virtual network. You can create multiple VMs and connect them to the same virtual network. The virtual network, it's your router. Here you can set your um, subnets and IP addresses and all of those stuff. There are many services in Microsoft data centers. There is a load balancer, there is a PaaS services, and we will see what is the PaaS services in the upcoming uh, slide. So, this is like a quick introduction about the Microsoft Azure, and let's see on details what is the services which provided by Microsoft Azure. There are three kind of services. First one is the infrastructure as a service and called EAS, and the other one it's a platform as a service and called PaaS, and the third one is a software as a service and called SaaS. In the next slide, we will see the difference between each service of those and what is the example of each one of those. There is a comparison between the on-premise. If you have the on-premise, who will manage your on-premise? You have to manage everything in the on-premise, in the infrastructure as a service. And the good example here is to have a virtual machine on Azure. So this virtual machine, you will control or you will manage some layers, and Microsoft or the vendor will manage the other layers. The networking, like if it's Cisco, Juniper, something else, Microsoft will manage it. The storage, the server, the visualization layer, all of those will be the vendor responsibility. And you have to manage those layers, which is the operating system, the middleware, the running time, the data, the application. It will be my responsibility. Here in this layer, in the OS layer, I can choose which operating system I need to run. I can use Linux, I can use Windows, Ubuntu, whatever what I have, I can use it on Microsoft Azure. And also the middleware, which is the layer between the OS and the application, I can manage it. I can manage the updates. I can manage the running time of this VM. When I stop the VM, I stop paying to Microsoft. When I switch it on again or I start the VM, I will start paying. So we are paying to Microsoft per hour and the data and the application. Um, in the platform as a service, I'm sorry to talk like in those differences, but I think we need to have a visibility about all of them in order to see the impact of each and every service in our business and how we can grow our business using those services. So the platform as a service, Microsoft will manage everything. And to give you an example, if I need SQL server or database, I can use it as a platform as a service, PaaS, or I can use it in the top of virtual machine on Azure. So I have both options, and we are here to help you to pick which one of those. So the database, I can if I can order SQL PaaS service. Microsoft will be responsible for the update of this virtual machine. Will be running 24 hours for you. The middleware will be covered and managed by Microsoft, and you have to put only your data and your application. You can have another example also, like if you need to host an application or a website, you can get a place call or something, a service called web app. You can put your code on it and you can use it. But you need to make sure there is a website from Microsoft can show you your code is compatible or not, and this is will be provided by Arcelor team. They will help you to understand which your application is compatible or not, and what you need to do in order to make it compatible. There is some changes in the code or something need to be added. Anyways, this is will be something not a big issue if you decided to use the platform as a service. Software as a service, which is the last one, it's mainly like the Office 365, and the Microsoft Azure contains the EAS and PaaS services. Office 365 or anything by user is totally managed by Microsoft. All what you need to do is to create your users, and the exchange is configured for you running. You need to configure maybe your domain, and everything is running and ready for you to use it and manage it by your vendor, which is Microsoft. Okay, so that was the difference between them. And here let's discuss the benefits of each and every service, the benefits of Azure as a platform or your future cloud. You have the option to start and stop your server. So during this time which your server is running, you are paying to Microsoft per hour, per VM per hour. When you stop your server, there are some services will stop paying. So when you started again, you will start paying again. So the benefits of it, and if we compare it to your on-premise, I would like to give two examples. If you decided, or if you have two options to build your own data center, and if you have option two is to go with Microsoft Azure, which one will be financially better for me? If I decided to go with the option number one, which is to do a very big investment in order to have like 5 physical servers or virtual servers, 2 virtual servers, I have to buy the latest technology in the market from Dell, from Lenovo, from HP, whatever. I need the latest one in order to keep my servers live for upcoming 5 to 7 years. And the 5 and 7 years is good timing to upgrade your data center. Upgrading the data center, it must be done every 5 years in order to have the latest technology. Some people are keeping this for 7 years. and some people are keeping their data centers with no updates for 10 years, but this will affect their security, and maybe they will have a vulnerabilities on their system if they did not upgrade. So let's get back to financial comparison. In Azure, I need to have a small VM and I need to have a VM I pay for per month. So the VM may cost me like $100, $200. On the other hand, I need to have like two physical servers in order to build in the top of them five or 10 or seven servers, whatever what you need. So I need to have a thousand. I have to do like investment with thousand of dollars in order to have those servers, and you need to have AC or air conditioning for those servers. You need to have also um, balanced power. You need to have UPSs. You have to have, or you need to build your data center with a high raised floor based on the standardization of the uh, data centers in the world. So you need to do a very big investment, and the firefighting and the power, many things you have to do investment in order. But on Microsoft Azure, it's a easy couple of clicks you need to do in order to have your VM, and you are paying monthly or quarterly or annually based on which service you need to have. The second one, you can grow fast. You can start with a very small VM, and you can scale it up or down anytime. What does mean? I can start with 2 cores and 8 GB RAMs VM, and when I need to scale it up with the same configuration on it, all what I need to do is to switch off my server, resize it, make it 4 cores, 16 GB RAM, 16 GB of RAMs, or higher if you need higher specs. So you will have the same server with the same specs. Also, you have the option to change between the HDD hard disks to SSD, and this is will cost you a lot if you need to have the same feature on Azure. Okay, on your on-premise. I'm sorry, on Azure it's very cheap, and it's per hour. Also, I can change my hard disk 1 day, 2 days, 3 hours, whatever. When I need to change it to SSD, then I can change it back to HDD if I don't need the high performance of SSD to my servers. Okay. Third one is, or third benefit here is, there are many businesses are running uh, uh, all the year or the entire year with a very small, no one accessing my website until I make, or the high season came. And I would like to give here an example of Ministry of Hajj. Ministry of Hajj, it's a nice example and fit example to be hosted on Azure. And the reason why, all of us knows a Ministry of Hajj, no one, or there are few people only are visiting the website of Ministry of Hajj during the year, but in Hajj season, there are millions are visiting this website to do the registration for Hajj. So it's almost 15 to 1 month. This is the high season for Ministry of Hajj. So they can have a small VM with 2 cores and 8 GB RAMs the entire year. But during this period, they can have 32 CPU, virtual CPU, or 64 with 100 or 200 GB of RAMs if they need. So they can save money during the whole year, and they can pay high price only during this. If we compare it to what happened, the Ministry of Hajj now did a very huge investment to have physical servers or virtual servers in their own premises. The entire year they did not use the those servers, but during the season only they need to use them. Okay, so any other business, any of your business with using the same concept, Microsoft Azure will be an ideal environment or services to use it. Okay. Um, Also, Microsoft provides you with a solution for non-stable utilization, like the restaurants, for example, people are visiting restaurants and you have your invoicing system in Azure. So maybe you will have no work after midnight, but you will have a very high pressure during the day, during the lunchtime, during the dinner time. So here, Microsoft provides you with services such as the scale set, and the scale set, it's like 5 VMs. All of them are switched off. One of them only are running, up and running. This VM, the only VM which is running, we will pay for it. But when the utilization of this VM comes to 99%, the second VM will start, sorry, automatically, and the third will be the same. When the utilization of the previous, for example, we have three VMs are running. When the second VM utilization came to 80%, the number three will stop automatically. No need to do any involve from your side, or to have or to do anything related to that. Okay. So you will pay based on your workload only, and this is something very good, and we cannot compare those services to the on-premise from the financial perspective, from the technical perspective, from the performance perspective. Also, I would like to highlight in something here in point number one, the on and off. Microsoft provides you with a service called automation account. This automation account, Arcelor can configure to you in order to make a schedule for your VMs to be working during, um, like for example, my business needs those HR system to be working during the working hours, which is 8 hours per day or 10 hours. My HR will not use this system during night or after the working hours. So Arcelor can help you to do a schedule for your VMs to be stopped and running again next day automatically without any involve from you. So this is will save a lot of money for you. Okay, no need to stop the VM by yourself or something. Just tell Arcelor which is the timing you need to have um, your server to be run, like 5 days a week, from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. So they will make the schedule. Your servers will be running and shutting down again after those timing automatically. Okay. So those are the benefits of cloud. More benefits, you can use it in Microsoft Azure. You have three copies of your data in a one data center. And for example, if we have in East US data center 3 copies, we can have the option to have another 3 copies of your data in West US. So this is called in different geographical location. So this is called geo replication. You will have a high availability for your data. In order to do this in your on premises, this is gonna cost you a lot of money. Okay. And this is service, it's by default on Microsoft to have a minimum 3 copies of your data, and you can pay less money to have another 3 copies in different physical location. Okay. Microsoft is an open platform and open cloud, so you can use many layers of operating system like Linux, Red Hat, SUSE, Oracle Linux, whatever what you need, you can use in Microsoft Azure. as you as it will be your virtual data center. You can use many of the open source databases, different languages of development, and like Hadoop and MySQL, many of them, PHP and Java, if you need to have like application tools, many things or anything, and more of those we will see them in the Azure marketplace. You can use anything in the top of Microsoft Azure. Okay. Also, Microsoft data centers are certified data centers from those organizations. So Microsoft has built their its data centers uh, based on the international standards to build the data centers. And in order to do that, you need to become a certified from those. It's a certified from the ISO and many different organizations like the FDA in United States and the European Union. So it's totally secure and well organized data centers, so you can put your data better than to build your data center with a lot of mistakes and with a lot of problems and issues will be happened in the future, and with a lot of investment also. Okay. Okay, Microsoft has built its own data centers based on many different layers. From the physical layer, Microsoft provides you with cameras and alarms, 24 by 7 security stuff, two-factor access control, and days of backup for your power. Okay, it's not a couple of hours like what you will do in your data center. In the infrastructure layer, Microsoft has built its infrastructure based on a secure design. Uh, it also provides you with it. It also has different layers of testing and DDoS attack protection. And in the networking layer, Microsoft will isolate every customer network so no one can see the VMs or the IP addresses or any item from the other customer. So you are in very isolated environment in Microsoft. Also, you can attach to your server multiple virtual networks, multiple virtual NICs, and the last layer, and you have the access control list to allow and deny port switch communicating with your environment. Also, in the VM or the application layer, you can use the anti-malware from Microsoft or from third party like Kaspersky, Symantec, whatever. You can use it in the top of your servers. You have a rule-based access. You can control who can access my environment on Azure. I have, like, for example, two administrators. I can give administrator number one access to do the only backup. Number two, I need him to manage everything, so I can give him the rule of the managing the servers. Uh, Also, you have logging auditing, so you can monitor and see clearly who is accessing my environment. Regarding the security part, Microsoft provides you with a storage or hard disk encryption service. You can use Microsoft encryption service, or you can bring your own private key so nobody can knows or decrypt your disks. Also, there is a Microsoft Azure Security Center, and the Security Center has two tiers. You can use minimum the free one, which will give you Microsoft recommendation from the security perspective. For example, if you missed one update on your Windows, will remind you, please do the security update. If you forget to switch off a port number, will be uh, 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 a good guidelines to help you to make your environment secure. So the conclusion from this slide, your data is totally secure. You can secure it more and more by using third party or your decryption encryption keys. No one can access your data from uh, the physical layer. This is will be impossible. Uh, your data is safe and built based on Microsoft, based on international standards. So that was this slide is talking about that. But let's reflect this to your business. Our business will be something. Our business will be secure here and used in this environment. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Microsoft provides you with two options to save cost. If we compare the pay-as-you-go module, which paying per hour, with our own premises, we will save like 40 to 30% during the 5 years. But sorry, Microsoft provides you with an option which called reserved instance. If you have or if you commit with Microsoft for 1 year to 3 years commitment, the 1 year maybe you will save for the computing part. I will explain what is the computing part now. Like up to 30 to 40%, and the 3 years will save with you or will save like 72%. So every VM consists of a number of services, like the computing, which is the number of CPU with the number of RAMs, my VM specs, and the licensing, and the third part is the storage of my VM. So when I stop my VM, I will stop paying for the license and I will stop paying for the computing. But the storage, I cannot stop it because my data it's there. So for people who don't like to stop their VMs, Microsoft said that if you commit, you will use this server with the same specs for 1 year, you will have more discount for the computing part. And if you have your on-premises license like Windows Server and SQL Server, you can use them on Azure, but you need to have a very software assurance. You can use the open license with the software assurance on Azure, and you can pay only or you can pay for the storage and computing only, and this is called Azure Hyper Benefit. The in order to change or to cancel your uh, reserved instance, there is a small conditions like you will lose like 12% or you can do the exchange with no charges from Microsoft, but you can do that. Also, Microsoft provides you with another commitment called software subscription, and this is applied on the licensing part, which is the Windows Server and the SQL Server. So if you commit to use Windows Server for one VM for 1 year, you will have a very high discount. And sorry, the 3 years will have like 82 percent discount if you compare it to the pay as you go. Okay. So this is another thing to save more and more money on Azure. Let's move forward to the next slide. Uh, Here is the very important slide. So how can I use my services or servers on Azure and which the scenarios? All of us has a business, and the business continuity, it's something, and the high availability is something very important and affecting all of our businesses. If you build your data center by yourself, maybe this will cost you a lot of money. It will not be secured enough. You need to hire more resources to make it more secure, but on Azure, it will be more flexible, easy. One administrator can manage everything for you, and no need, or you can do a SLA contract with Arcelor. They can manage it for you. So if you have on-premise environment and on-premise data center, you can back up this data center on Azure, and you can use the disaster recovery on Azure. In case if you have your main site, you can have DR site on Azure. If the first site goes down, another site will go up with the replicated data and sync data, and this may be going up within, it's a changeable between 5 minutes to 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, based on the scenario and the DR approach you use it in your DR scenario. So this is will give your business more continuity, and some of the DR scenarios will not gonna cost you a lot because you are paying for the running services. But in this case, Microsoft provides you with a cold scenario, and this cold scenario will, you will have no VMs, you will have only storage, and your data will be synced to this storage until um, something happen or disaster happen. You will start the VMs, so here you will stop paying. Maybe you will pay for 4 hours until you fix your problem, 9 hours, day, 2 days. So you will pay for only 2, 3 days until your problem is fixed, and then you can do the failover again to your data center or main site. Okay. Those are the first two scenarios. You can back up on Azure or use the disaster recovery on Azure. Third one is the dev and test. Many companies has a developers and needs a dev and test environment to test their code, application code, their upgrade to do anything. You can do it on this environment. After you finish your testing, just switch off your servers and or delete them when you finish, and you will stop paying. The third and the fourth scenario, you can extend your infrastructure. You have the ability to connect your infrastructure or main data center with Microsoft data center using a VPN site to site or point to site, or you can use the express route, which is the MPLS here in Saudi Arabia. You can take it from any ISP, and Arcelor can help you to do that. So in in order to save more money, no need to do a more investment or buying new servers, hardware in your current data centers, and you can extend your infrastructure or build your new infrastructure on Azure and connect it easily to your head office or to your employees from different sites. Okay. So this is how you can keep your business continuity and high availability higher, and this is will save your business, of course. Um, the licensing and how we can pay for those services. There are two types of payment. There is consumption based on the service, and there is a license service based on the user. For the consumption, we can give some examples like the virtual machine. You are paying for the virtual machine per dollar per hour, and the website is per dollar per website or the database. The website and database is a platform as a service. And for the storage, it's per dollar per hour and per transaction. If you have, or if you hitting your hard disks a lot, so you need to pay per transactions in some cases, not every case. Okay. And the user's license, you have the Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. It's similar to the on-premise Active Directory, and it's integratable. You can use, and you use it already. If you have Office 365, you have this free tier of Azure Active Directory, okay, which managing the users' names and passwords for all your employees. So that was the second part, or the licensing part. Um, Now it's the time for the demo. And before I go with the demo, I would like to tell you how we can help you in order to more understanding the previous presentation. Uh, Logicom and Arcelor together can help you to design your infrastructure, to do cost assessment. You can have a cost estimation cost for your environment. You have one or two or three servers. You need to migrate them to Azure, or you need to have a test on Azure, or you need to have a backup on Azure. So we will help you to do estimation cost and build a secured design based on Microsoft best practices. Please reach Arcelor team in order to do this, or we can help you to together to do the assessment. So now let's see the demo part. Sorry for that.
Mr. Prince, thank you a lot for the great walk. Do you want to catch your breath? Like I can see your throat is almost.
No, I'm
Uh,
sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. All
are
is
you
good.
okay?
Yeah. All is good. Thank you. Thank you,
Try
Mr.
to
Wilson.
drink something. Okay. Do you want to get questions for now, or you want to leave it after the demo?
I think the demo will show more things, will make people like touch the Azure service. So I prefer the questions will be after the demo.
Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Please.
please. So in order to access your Azure environment, you need to order or open portal.azure.com. You will be asked to log into your environment. Okay. I think my credential is saved here in this. So it's much better. So this is how looks like the Azure portal. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger. From here, this is my virtual data center. I have here the three dots, which taken me to any service. So first thing, I can see all my resources from one place. I can open resource group, and the resource group is a logical container like the folder. I can put on it my services. So let's open it and let's browse all services from the resource group. I have here a resource group called Murad Test. Murad is my colleague. So in this resource group, we have number of services. First one is my virtual machine. Second one is the public IP address which connected to this virtual machine, or connected to the network interface card which connected to this virtual machine. I have the network security group where I can manage my ports, and let me open it for you. From here, I can allow some ports and deny another traffic. So it's my firewall. I can apply it in the VM layer. I can apply it in the subnet layer. I can apply it in the virtual network layer, in the load balancer, in many different layers. I can apply the virtual, this network security group. And if we can, okay. That's it. From here, you can manage your rules, which you need to create it, or apply it to somewhere you want. Okay. This is the public IP address. And my public IP address is this one, and it's associated to this virtual machine, to this virtual network, and this is the virtual machine which using this public IP address. Okay, and from here I can configure it. It's a static, it's dynamic. It's a dynamic now, and I can change it to static IP address if I want. With a few clicks, I can do the configuration that I need. Okay. This is the access control where I can manage the users or assign rules to whom can manage the environment. So I can give access to internal or external uh, uh, even Hotmail accounts. I can give them access to access my management. Here I am the owner of this subscription because it's my test subscription. I give an access to two of my colleagues, and I give them contributor which can do anything but cannot assign another admin to this environment, the owner only who can do this, and there is a reader to browse only the environment, and he cannot do any changes. So based on the the access you want to assign to your administrators, there are more rules. Let's get back to our resource group. Inside this resource group, you have a hard disk which connected to the VM. We will open the VM and see it now, but I prefer to continue describe the other, so the VM will be easy for us. So here is the virtual network, which is like my router. From here, I can add or manage the subnets. I have only one subnet. I can add more, or I can check what is the connected devices. If I have 10 servers connected, I will see all of them with their local IP addresses here. So it's quite simple to manage your network from here. You can do like use a custom DNS if in case if you have the Active Directory and you want to use the DNS of your Active Directory server. In the pairing, you have the option if you have two different virtual networks, one in West Europe and one in North Europe, you can pair both of them together or connect both of them together. You can manage the logs, you can see your diagram, and there are many options to see it. So now it's the time to see our virtual network. This is, sorry, the virtual machine. This is the virtual machine. This is the first page, which is the overview. From here, you can read some information about your VM. This VM, it's a this is the size of the VM, and it's a 2-core with 8 GB of RAMs, and it has Windows Server Data Center 2019. This is the public IP address of this VM, and this is the network interface card. This is the virtual network, sorry, which connected to this VM, and the DNS name, and the location is in West Europe data center. This is the subscription name and subscription ID. So those all are the VMs. Also, if you scroll down a little bit, I'm sorry, if you came here to see or to click on the monitoring, you can see the utilization of this VM. You can see how many CPU you are using. This is a test VM, not a production. That's why I am not utilizing anything from this VM. You can see last hour, last 12 hour, last day, plus 30 days if you want. It was switched off for a long time, so I did not pay during this time or this time. Okay, so uh, this is what we, or the capacity. There are many services can connect. One of them is the backup, and I would like to go through any of those services. There is a tutorials also and videos how to use the service, how to do many things, and those are basically new features by Microsoft. And here is the more details for the VM. So What is those services? Those everything related to my VM. I can manage it from this bar. So I can manage my network to attach more network interface card or assign different network security groups. Those are free features, totally free features. You can attach them and use them. From here, you can use the disk of this VM. In order to use it, this is the disk which assigned, but I cannot change it now because the VM is running. But as you can see, it's a HDD. But let me take you to another VM which is stopped already. Let me come here, VMs, for example, and I have another VM which is Azure AD VM. And if we came to the same place, which is the disks, I can see there is an operating system disk and data disk. I can open the data disk, and in the configuration part, I can change with a click this VM from HDD to SSD. This is all what I need to do. I can also increase the size of my disk, but it must be you should have or must have shut down VM. You need to shut down your VM in order to be able to do that. Otherwise, let's go back to our previous VM. You will not be able to change the configuration of the VM. Okay, it will not be selectable. Okay, uh, that was the disk. Now we are back to our VM. So from here, you can resize the VM, and also you can choose, for example, this is our current size, which is 2 cores and 8 GB RAMs. You can use 4 cores and 16. You can have, let me, this is the filter. Let's go with custom to have all the CPUs and all RAMs. And let's see how many VMs we can resize our VM to. Let's, for example, arrange it by number of CPUs. Those number of VMs are using one CPU to until, let's go down, 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 until 64 cores of CPU and 432 GB of RAMs. So you can increase and scale up your VM until higher layer, until higher VMs. And this is bare node, bare virtual machine. So based on your need, we will help you to use which VM and what's fit your business on Azure. Okay. We have also part for the security. This is connected with a paid service. This is will give you if you can see here, there is a recommendation. I'm using, they are given a recommendation which is connected with the security center. Okay. And this is the free tier. I'm not paying anything for it, but it gives you here what is the assessment, what you need to do. And this VM has a risk and the endpoint production not installed on it. So they recommend me to install the antivirus, but because of this is a just demo VM, so no need to do anything on it. But for your production, of course, you need. Uh, I'm not gonna go in details in every and each one of them. You have the option here for auto shutdown, but this will shut down the VM and you need to start it automatically. In order to schedule the shutdown with starting and shutdown in specific times, there is something else called automation account, and this is Arcelor will help you to configure it. Also, your backup. If you want to configure your backup, you will configure it from here. You have to apply the policy, you have to apply everything and to enable the backup. Everything, as you can see, it's a quite simple and easy. From here, you can see the boot diagnostic, what is the status of the VM. This is the current status for my VM right now. I can reset my password from here. I can check my health, the health of my VM from here. So there are many different things to manage and support your VM. For now, I'm done with everything related to that. I just has I would like if Mr. Wajdi can help us to open or to manage this VM. If you can connect to this VM from your
Okay,
side.
I'll show it quickly from my side.
Yeah, before you go for it, I will highlight here in order to connect to your VM, you need to open the RDB or SSH or Bison. In our case, or what Mr. Wajdi gonna show you is when you click to RDB, you need to choose the port number and the public IP address. I will share it with you now, Mr. Wajdi, or I think you have them. So just download the
Yeah.
RDB, okay, and you need Mr. Wajdi will share his screen to show you the next step. Mr. Wajdi,
Okay,
please have the
I'm sharing my
control.
screen now. If
Yes,
everyone can confirm if you can see my screen, please.
yes, I can.
Okay, so as Mr. Rami just mentioned, connecting via remote desktop through RDP will give you the ability to basically get your server. And that can be as easy as, you remember the password then. I hope the password is correct. Okay, just give me a second, please. All right. So the username and password, like exactly what you do in your local computer or server. You just connect to it, it connects, and as if it is a local computer. You can see the public IP address is here. This is the same public IP address as Mr. Rami indicated, okay? And you can see this is the server where you can do anything like any other server where you can install your applications and databases and other things as well. Okay, Mr. Rami, I can hand it back to you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Mr. Wajdi, for this. I would like to share my screen again in order to show you what is the capabilities or what you can do from your side in order to use Microsoft Azure. This is the portal of Microsoft Azure where you can use the Azure and we can manage our servers as Mr. Wajdi showed us. So there is another site called Azure Marketplace. In Azure Marketplace, this is you can open it from here. Okay, it shows us um, what you need to use on Azure. For example, if you need to use firewall on Azure to uh, uh, um, to protect your environment or VMs on Azure, you can just type firewall. I'm sorry, not typing. Firewall and just search. What we will found here, we can use FortiGate firewall on Azure. It will be as a virtual appliance or a VM. You can use Sophos. You can use Barracuda. You can use many different F5. You can use many different. This is Barracuda one. There are many versions. I would like to go with this one to let you understand more how you will pay for it. This is a FortiGate firewall, web application firewall. It's a WAF to your environment. In the plan here, this is an introduction about it. This is the links. This is a ready image for you. No need to install or configure anything. Just pick this image and it will be installed for you. Just you have to active your license and to configure your rules and everything will be working. In this part, there are two things or two payment methods. You can do them. First one is pay as you go. So you are paying per hour, but the firewall most probably will be working or online for 24 hours. Other one is bring your own license. Let me go back to check the other one. I think it has the two options. I think this one. This is the firewall, not the web application firewall, and this is built in a single VM. Sorry, there is hang or something. Yes, here. Let me get Sophos or
So it will
something.
be acting like an appliance, Mr. Rami, right?
Sorry?
Virtual appliance. It will be
Yeah,
acting like a virtual appliance.
exactly. This is will be your virtual appliance or virtual firewall in your virtual data center, saving or you from this one you can publish safely your environment. Also, Microsoft provides you with a virtual appliance, but what I'm showing here, or what is my point of view, if you have experience in a product like Sophos or Barracuda or whatever, or FortiGate, you can use the same experience. No need to train your people again, which makes the life easy. Here you can pay as you go per hour or bring your own license. Get the license from the vendor, which is Sophos, and use it. All what you need to have a virtual machine, small virtual machine on Azure. And this is the cost of it. I'm gonna open the pricing calculator now after I finish the marketplace. All what can I get from this one is the or from the marketplace is the firewall. No, if you have backup solution like Veeam backup solution, you can use Acronis, you can use Veeam, you can use whatever. What is your backup solution? You can use it on Azure as a VM to do the backup. Even NetApp is compatible here. Commvault, many different products. So don't worry about using your own stuff or your own third-party applications on Azure because Azure is compatible almost with everything. Okay, what is your environment? If it's a SAP, for example, and we have people are using SAP images for NetWeaver, for SAP HANA, whatever what you need, you will find here on this marketplace. And the marketplace, it's something other vendors can show their products in Microsoft. And once you have this one or this icon, you will have image connected to this icon. No need to install operating system or to install the application. You will have the application with the operating system installed for you. All you have to do, you have to put your license key and to use it. Okay, so that was the Azure environment and the marketplace of it. I would like to show you also how is the calculation for or the pricing calculator. So there is something called Azure pricing calculator. This pricing calculator, when you open it, it shows you the price for every and single service you needed. It may be difficult for you to use it first time, but we have expertise in Arcelor and Logicom. We can help you to make it easy for you. Just share with us your environment or requirement for your environment in order to help us to build the estimation cost for you. In this estimation, I'm sorry, I have here a lot of tabs are opened. Let me close one of them. No. Okay. So here you can build the estimation. I would like to show you sample of the cost for each VM. So you have the VM. Okay. This is the monthly cost of it. The VM is 2 cores and 8 GB RAMs. You have another 2 cores with 8 GB RAMs with a cheaper cost, including the Windows license cost and the computing, and you can add the SQL if you want, standard, for example, and you can see the price after adding the SQL. Or you can use it Linux. Linux, you can use it which one of those operating system, if you needed CentOS, for example. Um, and this is what you need. Regarding the hard disk, you can select the HDD hard disk. Let's have an example for 128 hard disk. You can pick more, but for the operating system, we need one hard drive, and HDD, it costs like $5. And if you have like premium SSD and 128 also, it will cost you $19. So the based on your need, we will help you to pick which one. That was something related to the uh, VM. The total cost of VM, it may like that, and we can change the plan for more higher. Like for example, I need this 4 core and 32 GB RAMs. It cost me like $200. I need it with a Windows, so it cost me $338. If I have the license, on-premises license or software subscription, I can use them in Azure, and I can use the hybrid benefits, so I will get the discount. So I'm paying here for the computing only. So that was an example to use the Azure. From here, we can select our data center or UAE data center, for example. This is north or central. UK, UAE, north or central. So the price is changing for everything in this. I'm sorry, I'm with a very small plan. Price is almost same, or there is a few change you cannot recognize. So that was for the Azure, okay. And if I need to attach data disk, this is the storage account. The storage account is I need to use UAE Central, the same, and I need managed disks. There are many options for many different solutions. We will make it easy for you, and we will explain you your calculation based or your requirement. So you needed, for example, SSD. I needed 64 GB, and this is the cost for it. Okay, so this is the option. Let me show you also the reserved instance. Let me get a little bit higher
Here,
VM.
Ali, we have already exceeded the time. So the idea of the Azure calculator is, I think, clear. So it basically gives the ability to put all the resources and get initial maximum consumption estimation of
Exactly.
the situation. Okay? So it might not be easy for a business customer to do it on his own. That's why we provide the extended professional services to design, assess, and definitely provide the proposed metrics or resources for the solution. Okay.
Okay. All the other services will be founded here. Thank you, Mr. Wajdi, and I'm sorry for exceeding the time. I'm almost done from my side. Nothing else I need to add. Just the stage is yours to. Now is the time for the questions and answers before we
Yes.
go to Arcelor services
We will
and
wrap
how
up.
we can help you. Yeah.
We will wrap up for now after the question and answer. So we will leave the floor for questions and answers. You can, gentlemen and ladies, you can simply unmute and ask the question. Otherwise, if you want to ask a question in the chat box.
Yes, please.
Let me share with you some questions that are raised already during the presentation. So Mr. Mujtaba asked the question about what's Hyper-V.
Okay, the Hyper-V is when you have a physical server. This is a service or feature that comes with Microsoft Windows Server. This is give you the ability to make the physical server small servers, like to build the virtual machines in the top of this server. So let me go few slides back.
A virtual environment that you can run locally or on any server that you can split the hardware into multiple servers virtually as well.
Exactly. And as
So
you can
let's move to the second question.
yeah, as you can see here, you can build those servers in the top of one physical. So please go ahead, Mr. Wajdi, for the next question.
Yeah, I mean the Hyper-V is almost like a private local virtual environment that you can run on your physical hardware.
Yes.
Okay. So the second question from Mr. Sakena is basically, is there a relationship between Azure and AI?
What does mean with AI?
Oh, okay. So Mr. Sakena is asking about artificial intelligence and Azure. What is the
Yes.
relation? If
Yes, of course. You can use the intelligence like any different services. Microsoft or Azure provides you infrastructure to build your application on it and gives you PaaS and SaaS services, supports you for the machine learning, for many different things. No need to build an environment. So the Azure, it's like a cloud platform, gives you the ability to use even existing services to provide you with artificial intelligence, and it makes the solution easier for you to use it. And if you need, we can have like a one-to-one meeting on it, so I can have more about your requirements, so we can provide you with a correct solution and with special people from the this part from Azure. Of course, it's
yes,
related.
thank you, Mr. Rami. I think the answer is that AI runs on top of Azure platform. It's one of the services that Microsoft provides within the cloud solutions. Um, so the next question, and I think we have answered that already. Mr. Majdi from Al Hussein Al Ali Hospital is asking about the Azure calculation and the estimation, and I think we have already shown that in your demo. Okay. So I
Yes.
will leave the room right now to Mr. Joseph. He's raising his hand for a question. So Mr. Joseph, please go ahead. Oh, maybe he left. Okay.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Okay, so you're here.
Okay,
Please
right now, sir,
go
I
ahead.
just put you in our meeting room, so some of my colleagues watching right now.
We
Okay.
are very happy.
Okay,
So it's
so we
almost
are
like
in the digital marketing, and we do the uh, DOH, like the part we do marketing in our Pixel division. They were asking, how will you give us a solution in terms of infrastructure? Because we already, as Mr. Wajdi is very familiar with our nature of our company, and I'm a big fan of Microsoft, and we are most of our thing here is a Microsoft product and subscription also. And we are asking how this Azure can give us in terms of the virtual machine that we will create that helps in every network in our business in terms of digital display. Because
That's
as you
great.
notice, the digital display, sir, has its own application, which is not stated in your slideshow. So we are watching from the very start until it ends. So most of them are
By
not
saying,
asking for that.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Joseph. By saying digital display, you mean digital signage, right?
Yeah, this signage. Now, if our signage is located, one of our signage we use is from the, if you know the one in one mall, we have there 10 digital signage, 9 inside the inside the mall and 10 outside the parking lot distributed outside of the location.
Very good.
So,
Very good.
as they are saying right now, they are asking how this Azure can contribute the infrastructure for this.
Let me ask you a couple of questions, and then I will leave it to Mr. Rami on how Azure can help in this. Right now, where do you host your digital signage server, the content manager of the digital signage?
The content manager service, we are opening this one in the cloud. So that's why we want it to put it all everything in Azure.
Okay, so right now you do have a content manager that is hosted in a cloud, or it's running on
Yeah,
a
it's hosted in the
physical or
cloud.
virtual? Okay, okay. So you already have that cloud service as a software as a service or as a virtual machine?
Come again, sir?
The cloud digital signage content manager is running right now as a software as a service,
Yes,
or
sir.
as
It's
a
a service.
virtual?
We're running as a service, sir.
Okay. Mr. Rami, do you have
Yes,
an
yes,
answer to the
please.
question,
Yes, please.
Mr. Joseph?
Thank you for your question. It's a very, very great question. I would like to highlight here many things. First of all, Arcelor can help you with us, with Logicom, to do like assessment for your environment using Microsoft tools to let us understand which kind of infrastructure you are using. Then we can help you to migrate all your infrastructure from the on-premises or the current cloud service to Microsoft Azure. Regarding specific يعني specific solutions like the digital signature or something like that, I think we need to have it like one-to-one, case by case. So if Mr. Wajdi can arrange for a one-to-one meeting with Mr. I'm sorry, Majdi, or I forgot.
Mr. Joseph.
Mr.
Yes.
Joseph, yes. If we can arrange one-to-one meetings so we can have more insights, we can run assessment tools in your environment. Let us understand which components do you need. And there are PaaS services and SaaS services from Microsoft can help on that and integratable with your system. And let's do the design together based on your needs. Okay.
Yeah, we
So
were required to make an additional assessment for that, Mr. Joseph, as described by Mr. Rami.
yes, so
Okay,
we
sir.
can have answer for all the questions which Mr. Wajdi asked about it, or if more detailed. So this will help us to provide you with the solution.
As a
Okay,
short
sir.
answer to you, Mr. Joseph,
Yeah.
Azure
No,
is
they're
a
listening
cloud
also, sir. No
platform.
problem.
Okay, okay. Thank you for the question, Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Is there any question from the audience? Anyone who would like to raise any concern or question to Mr. Rami before we wrap up?
Yes, please. This is the time to ask. So we are here to answer any of your questions. So please feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead.
If any of the audience is a decision maker or working in IT of your company, that you have any point of clarification on supporting your company's business to move to cloud, and if you are facing any technical or complex situation with your current aging on-premise resources, servers, applications, this is the right time to ask questions. Otherwise, you can also raise any question offline through Arcelor's email, I think we can move in the slide to the next
Yeah,
contact details, Mr.
sure.
Rami.
I would like also, yes, this is the slide.
Okay. We can wrap up now. I mean, I can see,
You
I
can
think all
reach,
the questions.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
reach Arcelor team through the email address, the website, and Mr. Wajdi can talk about that much better.
Yes. So you can reach us anytime through those numbers and email addresses and website. And we are more than happy to be able to support you at any time. And we would like to thank you for the time that you have allocated in this webinar. And we hope that we managed to answer many of the technical on business doubts or points that you had in mind before joining. So with this, I really would like to express our highest appreciation to Mr. Rami and to everyone who has joined and stayed until the end, and also the ones who have decided to leave earlier. Maybe they have captured their intended requirements as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Rami, and we are done with the session now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Wajdi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Nice to know.